What I want to talk about today in this video is toxic sponsors. I've been in the program for many, many years, and you know something? I've heard many, many complaints from newcomers or long-timers about their sponsor. And I've heard what they've said or done to them, and I kind of cringe. So let's talk about how can you identify that your sponsor may be toxic for you, and maybe you should run like hell out of there before it's too late and they kind of make your program a little rougher, okay? So let's get to the video. My name is Terry G. This is an alcohol-free life channel where we're learning to live sober one day at a time. If you could take a second, please subscribe. Take another second and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. I've had lots of sponsors do this one to me, lots. And I tell you, a lot of people coming in the program do not do well with rules. We are very defiant. But have you ever had a sponsor, can you sponsor me? Then they give you the big rule book that you have to go by. Rules that are not even 12-step rules. They're just their own personal rules. And if you don't follow those rules, they just get rid of you. Like, you got to call me every day. You got to do service. You got to join a group. You name it. All these rules. You got to work the program. You got to show up every Wednesday. Rules, rules, rules. I get it. Newcomers, even old timers, need routine in the program. But you know what I'm saying when you have asked somebody to sponsor you and they lay out all those rules. Most of us, if you're like me, I was just too kind to say, nah, no thanks. I won't be doing this with you. No. When I sponsor, the only rule I have is this. It's your program. If you want me to help you, I'll help you. That's the only rule I have. I want people to be independent, free thinking, and to build a life for they can stay sober, for they can do it, okay? You know the old saying, give a man a fish, it eats for a day. Teach somebody to fish, teach them how to fish, and they'll eat the rest of their lives. That's my theory when it comes to working a 12-step program, helping somebody out. Make them feel independent. Another one is, and this is a big one, because I've actually heard it in 12-step groups, and is that the sponsor will overshare about the sponsee's life. They will talk about you behind your back. You know, those secrets you tell them, they'll share those secrets with other people. And I've heard that and I've seen that firsthand. And I tell you, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So if your sponsor does that to you, drop them like a hot potato. Do not accept apologies, just drop them and get away from there, okay? You don't need that. Broke the trust, embarrassed you, created shame, all that kind of stuff. Imagine a new guy or a new gal coming up to you, sharing their deepest, darkest secrets with you, then you go and share that amongst other people? Really? Talking about a breach of trust. It's got toxic sponsor written all over it. One of the main functions of a sponsor in a 12-step program is to help you, walk you through the steps, help you understand the traditions, help you with your daily sobriety needs. But when does that turn into a toxic sponsor? Well, it can turn out like this. And we've all probably had these ones too, right? They're all of a sudden your lawyer. They're telling you how to do legally. They're marriage counselors. They're your financial advisors. They're your health. They're your doctors. Have you ever had a sponsor like that? That knows everything and has the answers to everything? Well, let me tell you something. If you have a sponsor like that, they are blurring the boundary lines. That, my friend, is a big indicator of toxic sponsors. And the bugs today are crazy. Here's another one you might relate to. They try and pressure you into making decisions, like quitting your job, or you're not getting along with your wife, maybe you should divorce her. Those kind of decisions, they pressure you into making big life decisions. And everybody knows in a 12-step program, no big decisions should be made within the first year. And also, A sponsor should never be forcing anybody into making any sort of big changes. Okay? They can support the change that the sponsee brings forward, but to force them to make up their mind for them? No, no. That's a boundary that should never be crossed. People in recovery are capable of making their own mind up. They really are. Good or for the bad. They are capable of doing that. And we need to emphasize, we are only in it to guide people through the 12 steps and the 12 traditions and support them in their daily lives and promote thinking and confidence with somebody. Not make decisions for them. Just because they're complaining about their job, maybe you should quit. You need to quit, you keep complaining about the job. No. And one other one I like to throw in here, I know this video might be a little long, is the spiritual guru. Oh my God. I met a woman one time and she told me she was a spiritual enlightenment, and people used to walk up to her in 12-step programs like she was like the high priest of a 12-step program. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. And I don't like to say it like this. You could change the channel if you want. She was the most whacked out chick I've ever met in my life. And I see her to this day, and I'm like, there's no way, man. Nobody that I've ever known has had a hierarchy when it comes to spiritual life. They might understand it better, they may be calmer, but they're not a super spiritual being. Or, you know, if you agree with me or disagree, if you put it in the comments below. But I just find it, you know, like a spiritual guru. No, that's totally false, as far as I'm concerned. That's another hierarchy of spirituality, and that just creates a lot of, you're not doing it right, you do it my way. Okay, that's one that just blows me away all the time. There is many levels of toxic sponsors. There really is. Another example of a toxic sponsor is that you share with them that is something that is big for you, that hurts you, or something that caused you a great deal of grief. And when you're in your darkest times or down low, or maybe you're disagreeing with them, they take what you told them maybe a month ago, a week ago, and they throw it back in your face. Yeah, that's happened many times. I've heard a guy tell me that one time. They took what he said in his fourth and everything, and they threw it back in his face at a later date to use it as ammunition to keep him held down or something. I don't know exactly, but it wasn't for a positive outcome, that's for sure. So that's another one, eh? There's a lot of them of how to describe a toxic sponsor. Another one is, for me anyways, and this is a personal one, if your sponsor has too many sponsees, you know, like the guy with 20 of them, I don't know if he's toxic or just run ragged, but I had a sponsor like that. And let me tell you something, it was the worst sponsor I ever had. He was very impatient with me all the time. He just didn't have time. So maybe look for a sponsor that only has a couple of sponsees that can give you the time, so you feel that they're helping you out. It doesn't create that need that you can't talk to them, or the need that they don't want to have anything to do with you, because that itself can be very toxic to your program, okay? These are only a few examples of, there's black flies like crazy and I'm swallowing them when I talk. These are only a few examples of the way people sponsor 12-step programs. But you know something, I think these ones are really important. They really are, you know? There's a lot of people out there who should not be sponsoring, and there's a lot of sponsees that put a lot of reliance on the people who sponsor them for guidance in their program. If you're not feeling right, or you're feeling uncomfortable with a sponsor, there's a reason for that. Trust your intuition, and maybe it's time for you to move on. And the last one is probably one of the biggest ones I want to point out, and it's this one. Some sponsors, and I don't like this, but do you know what 13 stepping is? I know people, mainly men to women, like doing it to women, who have 13 stepped. A sponsor may pick a woman out who they find attractive and use their influence with the program to win favor from them. It's called 13 stepping. It's manipulating. And for myself, it's almost like emotional rape. I think a sponsor who does that is not just toxic, should be put in jail, personally. To take advantage of somebody like that in early sobriety, it just blows me away. It really does, okay? I have strong views about that, and those views will always stay with me, okay? Like I said earlier, these are just examples. Adhere to them. If you see them, one or two of them in your sponsor, or somebody you're thinking of being a sponsee to, just trust yourself. And remember, you can just leave them. If they're not a right fit for you, just leave. It's okay. It's okay. You don't owe anybody anything. You can leave and change till you find one that works for you, because that's what I've done. I've had the same sponsor for over 30 years of my sobriety, over 30 years. And we're like friends now, and it's always worked out, okay? Thanks a lot for stopping by. Now, my name is Terry G. This is an alcohol-free life channel where we're going to live sober one day at a time. If you can take a second, can you please subscribe? Can you take another second and hit that like button, okay? Thank you very much. God bless, and I'll see you next week.